Now that the trade period is over and the Hawks failed to land Zach Merritt and Bailey Humphrey, all eyes are going to turn to the 26 off-season, where the Hawks will be firmly trying to land a guy like Zach Butters, but there is still a 26 season in order to get through. And it is clear that internal improvement is going to be key for my Hawks. We obviously haven't got anything from the outside, so what's going to happen on the inside? Now, all of us agree that a fit Will Day is going to change a lot, and that is a hope more than a belief now, because we just need to see it in order to believe it. I wanted to go over the other options in one fully contained video, because I feel like I've only been able to give snippets so far in other videos post the Zach Merritt trade that didn't eventuate. And there are four massive options that we can go through here. And let's start with the one we know of, the consistency, because it also happened in 25, and that is Josh Ward takes a step up. Now, the hope is, from an optimistic point of view, is that what happens with Josh Ward was what happened with James Worpel when Tom Mitchell left. Worpel got back to his unbelievable form, well, close to his unbelievable form, after Tom Mitchell departed from the Pies. He had his best season after his best and fairest, winning one, and it looked like a really good move for this midfield. Newcomb took a step forward, and so did Worpel. Now that Jimmy has left, the hope is that Josh Ward is going to be able to take that next step. I know I was really critical of his preliminary final performance. I do also accept that of the five finals, I should say, that he's played now, four of them he's been good or very good in. And if he can put it together with a little bit more centre bounce attendance, maybe we can see him as a pure outside player. I'm still not convinced he can be the ultimate killer as a midfielder, but if he can become a bit of a hybrid, a beautiful kick inside 50 who can get the outside clearance, that would help the Hawks in a significant way. From there, we can go to the guy that couldn't really get a game, but the Hawks are putting a lot of love into, and that's Cam Mackenzie. Taken as the number 7 pick from St Kilda's Next Generation Academy, Mackenzie has shown flashes of Sam Mitchell 2.0, but unfortunately, there is one big thing that he does that Sam Mitchell didn't do even as a youngster, and that is being caught with the ball. My biggest criticism of Cam has been the fact that his eyes move brilliantly, but his legs don't. And that level of hesitation that he's got makes him a little too easy to run down, in my opinion. The ability to process information, get and go, has become all the more prevalent in modern AFL midfields, and this is the step that he would need to take, in my opinion, in order to be a fully fledged best 23 member of this Hawthorn midfield. His field kicking is fantastic, and I think he's got the ability alongside Ward to be really good distributors inside 50. But so far, again, we haven't seen him fully take games by the throat yet. A game here or there, yes, but he still hasn't had an 8-week block of his career that makes Hawthorn fans fully convinced he is going to be a bona fide midfielder in a contending team. I don't really give a damn if he would be the best of our midfielders or even the second best if the Hawks were a bottom 6 side. I, like I hope all Hawthorn fans are trying to judge these guys over a contending midfield. From here, we can go to the one that me and quite a lot of fans want to see more of, and that's introduce Josh Weddle as the killer, the striker in a Hawthorn midfield. Weds doesn't have to do a whole lot defensively, even though he was the All-Australian fullback in his draft year, but he hasn't really been a fullback at any point throughout his career. He does have that Nick Blakey get, go, and figure it out as you go along, and he looked so good on a wing against GWS and Adelaide. His third quarter against the Giants, even though the rest of his game wasn't the most productive, he basically took the piss, if we're being honest. But that run, gun, and carry that he showed against the Crows was really exciting. Unleashing him in a midfield where Newcomb, Nash can both be really defensive and not let the ball come out the front of the stoppage. If the Hawks can then turn that and get some centre clearances going their way out the front of the stoppage, imagine Josh Weddle approaching 55-60 out and launching long bombs. And if clubs do panic and want to come up to the centre square while he's in there, he's good enough of a field kick that he can get to a couple of metres of separation, and space will be created because of the 6-6 to open up the leading lanes for Mabior Chol, Cal Shadir, Jack Gunston, and of course Mitch Lewis if he is going to be one of the forwards that starts for the Hawks next year. But what about kind of the X factor that was introduced on Peter Crimmon's medal night, as a couple of people have pointed out to me, and that is that Connor McDonald is going to be training with the midfield group over the off-season. And for me, that's really exciting. The Doveton Flyer averaged nearly 30 disposals and hit the scoreboard in his draft year, and kind of gets forgotten about a little bit in the context of he's just been a really solid high half forward for his career. A bit of a down year statistically in 25, but that doesn't mean that unlocking his full potential, as his draft position states, is going to be a failure. He is clever. He is smart, and although he isn't as good of a field kick or even a goal kicker as a Ginnivan or a Dylan Moore, his poise, balance, and ability to find space would help unlock a lot of centre bounces for the Hawks. If I was to make any kind of prediction, I do think that Nash, Day, and Newcomb is still our best three-man combination for 26. If Will can't get his body 100% right, next up, of course, is going to be Ward. And from there, I do think that if McDonald is going to get his preseason numbers and preseason training through that midfield, then I think he does need to be considered. The fact that Hawthorn are keeping Cam Mackenzie around as he was seen untouchable in the merit trade is actually making less and less sense. Now, I could be absolutely wrong and Frenchie becomes a superstar, but we're relying on, again, faith there instead of belief, as we are with the entire Hawthorn midfield. Now, you can be really optimistic and say that an internal improvement and the machinations that Sam Mitchell can come up with can, again, launch us back into a prelim final or maybe even further moving forward. You could be really pessimistic and say, well, this midfield is going to be a worry. We're not really sure what we're going to get from Gunston again, and just how good is that defense going to be. For me personally, as annoying as this sounds, I feel like I'm sitting on the fence here. I don't know. I have no evidence right now that suggests that Weddle or McDonald are going to work as bona fide mids or even a part-time it-bit gadget midfielder that I think Josh Weddle can be. We actually don't even have any evidence that Weddle is going to do any midfield time next year. I'm still of the belief that he could absolutely be an All-Australian wingman if that's the role we wanted him to play all year, which would make a little bit of sense giving Mackenzie more midfield time and McDonald, which we've already spoken about. But right now, the Hawks know this as well, and so do the fans, that the midfield is the weakness. We're wanting some better health from Mitch Lewis and Kel Shadir, and we need greater health from Will Day. But clearly the machinations last year were just not good enough to get us there. I am in no way convinced we would have beaten Brisbane, considering how good their midfield was against the midfield that beat us 20-5 in centre clearances in a prelim final. And like Sam Mitchell said, if we're going to be what we are next year, we won't make the 8. So what do you think? Comment below. Let me know. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to join the Daz Talks Footy family. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.